In Lesson 10, we're going to interpret graphs of proportional relationships. So we're going to put together some of the things we've done in past lessons. Example 1 shows Grandma's special chocolate chip cookie recipe, which yields 4 dozen cookies and calls for 3 cups of flour. We're going to use that information, the cookies and the flour, to first of all create a table showing the amount of flour used to the amount of cookies. And remember, order matters. So flour will become first and cookies second. So our table then shows 3 cups of flours yields 4 dozen cookies. 6 cups of flours then would give us 8, and 12 cups of flour would give us 16. Then we check to see, is the number of cookies proportional to the amount of flour used? We would determine that by taking the y value, or the number of cookies, and dividing it by the x value, which is the amount of flour. 4 divided by 3, which is actually 1 1/3. 8 divided by 6, which also comes out to 1 1/3. And no surprise that 16 divided by 12 also comes out to 1 1/3 when we simplify. So the unit rate is 1 1/3. And in the context of this problem, it means that we would get 1 1/3 dozen cookies for every cup of flour. Then we'll go on to the graph, and we're going to model that relationship on a graph. When you create the graph, please remember to label axes, both axes, and to put equal units on both your x-axis and on your y-axis. Even though the x-axis and y-axis do not both have to have the same unit, they do both have to start at 0. So we can see, however small, the points graphed on this graph. Label, label, and you'll notice that the units on the x-axis are further apart than the units on the y-axis, but they are both going by ones. The graph does show the two quantities being proportional to each other, and we know that because the points are on a straight line, and that straight line passes through the origin, which is 0, 0. Then we would write an equation to represent the relationship, and that is 1 1/3 times the amount of flour will give us the number of dozens of cookies. Finally, in example 2, we're going to take a look at the amount of sugar required to make Grandma's chocolate chip cookies. And continuing on with that, we can see, of course, that 0 cups of sugar make 0 cookies. 2 cups of sugar will make 3 dozen cookies. 4 cups of sugar will make 6. 8 will make 12. 12 will make 18, and 16 will make 24. Our relationship of sugar and cookies is slightly different than our relationship of flour and cookies. So when we divide our y value by our x value, 3 divided by 2, we get 1 5/10, or 1 1/2 dozen cookies. And our constant of proportionality in this case then would be 1 5/10, which we could then create an equation from in the same way that we did with flour.